you for a minute.
I don't even I'm gonna have to stand to do it anyway.
Really?
That's no big deal. Because I don't want to be like other cameraman. When it gets to that end, I don't want to film that white
Just
bar.
film the bar. That's why I opened the window. I didn't know if that would be better or not.
I don't think that'll make much of a difference. But I can just slide this way more when they go down to that end. I can pretty much get all the way to the sideline.
Are you all hooked up and ready to go?
Yep, we're running. We're live. Check it. I tell you one thing though, I don't know how great the picture's gonna be because it's kind of like we're not that much higher. I mean, I know it seems like we are, but especially things on that side of the field, it's gonna
The far
be.
end's gonna be tough, yeah. But you know what? So Todd always gets his live stream from above the press box, and when we were at Utica, which isn't, it's only a little bit higher than this, he really liked it. At least as a coach's perspective, he really liked it. So now they do it from outside the press box, like in the stands.
Oh well, I mean, if it wasn't raining, going up there would be the way to go. But
all right, we are channel 1 today.
Okay, the ref just told me to tell you, I guess they agreed to a 7-minute half.
7. Well,
Yeah.
now that's confusing because I had 5 or 10 in mine. All right, so 15 to 15, 7.
Yeah.
15 to 15, and don't you dare go into overtime because then I have no clue what to do.
10 minutes.
It's just 10.
10, yeah.
Like, it would be a 10
10
to
to 10 to 10 to.
just win in regulation.
Yep. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna finish it.
Really?
What's that? We're good. Okay. And are they going to do senior night kind of like right in front
Here
here?
afterwards. Oh yeah, that's what I was. Hey, Coach Yocklin. We were starting to talk about it, and then we forgot. Can you have them do senior night like here, on this side? Thank you. There you go.
Do it
They're
after?
doing senior night afterwards
Okay.
because the officials have to get to Linganore for the next game because there's only like 4 field hockey officials in the whole state or something like that.
Yeah, I had years ago when I was at Whitman, we had a guy who got into refereeing field hockey. He was like a history teacher, and he was a little strange, but he said you make a mint because you can work every weekend. And he was like, you work high school, you can work college, you can, not that there's pros, but
It's so when I was I guess I was doing my grad school stuff. I was doing my master's for teaching, right? Because I didn't come out as a teacher, and I got into reffing, and I was living in Baltimore, so we were reffing in Anne Arundel County, and like we did some weekend stuff, and that was cool. But the real money was in the over 30 leagues.
oh really?
So we would, first of all, you'd show up. Every Thursday night was literally, it was the beer leagues, right? So Thursday night was co-ed over 30, or over 25, something like that, right? So it was somewhat competitive, right? Because they were still young, most of them. But they would show up, each team would show up to the game with a cooler and $55 in cash.
And they would pay you?
And they just give you $55 in cash, right? You report it later. And then, of course, they'd invite you over after the game. So at like 26 years old, great job.
Yeah.
Right?
That is a great job.
It was a great job. Plus, I was connecting with like other soccer players, and so when they needed people and we weren't working, and my roommate and I were doing it, it was fantastic. So we do that, and then we do like Saturday tournaments or Saturday, Sunday youth leagues in Anne Arundel County. And you know, for those, again, this is 20 some odd years ago, but even then we were making 25 to 30 a game.
Yeah.
You do 3 games.
I know that, you know, we played softball at Pine Cliff Park, and it's
I'm gonna drink some coffee.
kind of a low budget league. I mean, it not in terms of what it costs to get a team in the league, but just in terms of, you know, the field prep and all that kind of stuff is not the best. But yeah, you had to pay cash to the umpires, and they would work 3 games a night, $150 in 3 hours, and then, you know, it's not a super, like our league was not super competitive. I mean, everybody
Right.
tried to win, and they were good teams and stuff, but there was also teams that were very, very, they were just a bunch of guys that wanted to
Just have
play,
fun, yeah.
and they would lose 20-0. So, you know, no one's complaining if you know, ball strike call and that, you know, called somebody out when they thought they should have been safe. There wasn't going to be
That's the way it should be.
yeah, well, especially a lot of these guys were 35 and up. I mean, what are you trying to make it to the Olympic team now? Or I don't even know if men have an Olympic softball team.
I know
go to
that,
nationals and worlds and all that stuff. I mean,
like when I first came out of college, I joined a couple soccer leagues. There was one I was playing for. It's a pretty competitive league, Whistle, Washington Area Soccer League, and then I joined like 2 Montgomery County rec teams. Like one was a co-ed league and one was like under 30 league. And that under 30 league, like it was ridiculous how competitive they would get. I'm like, this is for fun. Like,
Right.
you want to be competitive? Come out on my Sunday league. Like these guys are trying to get to the pros. Not
right,
me. I wasn't
right.
good enough. I was watching them play. I was on the B team, but like they were legit. I was like, go
Right.
play with them. But to come out here at 28 years old and try and tear someone's ACL,
right.
it was horrible. And
Well, that was the other thing too. Like, a lot of guys worked construction or had, physical labor jobs. So just taking someone out at second base was just kind of, you don't do that because you could hurt somebody and then they'd miss work. And,
Yeah.
that's their livelihood, and this is something they do for fun.
I guess I should make like a senior night's gonna happen at the end kind of an incident.
I mean, the game should be a little faster on this, right?
It should be, yeah.
Like, I
It
mean,
should
in
be.
terms
now
of...
both teams are grass teams, but yeah, the game is definitely a little bit faster. Ball sits lower, but it moves. The issue becomes these teams aren't as practiced at passing on turf.
Yeah,
So
no,
they can
like I said before, when we
Oh,
went
yeah,
to
you
the
talked
state
about- yeah.
championship, the girls were like, they would put it right on each other's stick from, 20, 30, 40 feet away all the time, but then they came to play on turf and it was so much faster. Their time, it took them about a half to get it.
Yeah.
And that was the time when nobody had turf.
Those aren't the days anymore, are they?
No.
Come over to me.
She's just putting her water bottle over here.
I think she's the one that runs. I think she's the president.
Oh, is that,
Chrissy McCossie.
yeah,
Massey.
Chris McCosey.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one who called me out. I took her fitness class and I was in the back.
Oh.
Yeah, I was the only man. And she's like, modify your push-ups if you need to. So I listened to my teacher. She said, I'm not you. Oh, okay.
Sorry. Way to be sexist. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Foreman Field, home for your Tuscarora Titans tonight. Today's senior celebration will happen after the conclusion of the game. Let's go Titans! Whoop.
Rookie, minute 50. Yeah, he just did. Calm down.
Although, fortunately, it's a running clock.
Ooh. Whoa.
feel like we usually have a pretty competitive game against TJ.
This is really hard to follow.
Because you're so close.
Well, you have to be so close in order to see them. Otherwise, I feel like they're just so tiny. And then when you're that close, the ball goes so quickly out of the frame. I'm used to following it on grass. See, like now it's
being
like
that much faster, you may, and it may help that you're a little lower. You may just have to pull out some.
that's what I did, but my fear is that it's such a tiny picture, people can't really tell what's going on. But so if you get a lot of complaints, I apologize.
Truth be told, Coach and I decided today that we weren't going to live stream simply because of the rain, and I didn't want this out in the rain.
Well,
Right.
so
This is a bonus.
okay.
Like when we booked this place, they were nice enough to say, "You guys can have the press box."
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking we'd put a tent up there or umbrella or something, but then I'm like, man, you don't want a laptop out in the rain.
Yeah, that was my issue, and it's a misty rain.
Yeah.
If it was just, I was thinking about maybe just doing the senior ceremony. Like I was trying to figure it out, and Coach Hamilton was just like, you know what? Let's just skip it. It is what it is. Most people can come anyway. You know, it happens. I don't know if there are a lot of dogs there.
We know a lot at our school and they bring them anyway. Rules are optional. That's what I found in this
So
world today.
apparently, I looked it up, and apparently, it's only in the stadium they're not allowed. Because I
Well-
always yell at people for running around the practice fields with their dogs and not cleaning up. But
Well,
these kids practice there.
the kids do practice there, and they, a lot of people don't. And then they come to the field hockey game, and they bring that's the game field. They come to the baseball stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of places to take your dogs right in this area. I don't know that you need to bring them, but yeah, exactly. But what do we know? We're just
And
stupid.
we have people that walk through our area to get to the dog park.
Yeah. Boy, this is a lot faster.
And there's the inexperience of playing on turf right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on grass, she probably keeps that and keeps it in. That's all right. At least it's not against like an Oakdale or something that already plays on turf.
Right.
Although you saw TJ's getting theirs.
Yep.
Apparently, all we got to do is raise 200,000, not the full 1.1 million. That's what I learned from that article.
Well, we raised 200,000 for a concession stand. We still can't get that. So, what are you gonna do?
Well, and so this is the worst time to do it, because Mr. Nutter's got a friend that owns a construction business. Called him, had a meeting. And he's like, I will do what I can. And then he sent me a text the next day. He's like, still working on it, but just so you know, when COVID started, piece of plywood was $13. Now it's $41.
Wow.
Yep. He's like, so that's why you're not getting your costs. Oops. Blocking. Mm. Goal, Tuscarora by Dylan Williams.
Put the score up so I can film it. Well, I guess I can't now. Ooh, good try. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need some music or something.
Yes.
In the,
Got your phone, turn on.
yeah. Pick it up to the microphone.
Just
Right?
hold it there like that. I had issues this morning with my mic and my Google Meets. It didn't work first block, so I had to then end logging into the meeting with my phone to get the audio.
Was it the mic? Because there were huge internet issues this morning with all of like the Google and FCPS.
Oh, really? Well, then maybe because it kept like, and then I shut down and restarted before second block, and it worked fine. And then I got off and did some work, and I came back for fourth block, and it didn't work again.
Oh wow! I was saying I know at some point between some point between I'd say probably 7:30 and 9 is when it really started.
Yeah, well, I kept getting your code is no longer valid to the nickname that I've been using for the whole semester. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just kept typing it in, and it finally let me do it. But
That made me worried because I had my coaches meeting and my parent meeting tonight, which I'm supposed to be working on right now. I figured I'd sit here with Wi-Fi.
is this for
Spring.
spring?
At least I get one day off Friday before Saturday spring starts.
Nice stick work. Whoops.
I don't know everybody's name by their number.
Wow. Helen is relentless, man. She is fun to watch.
She got a lot more control this year than she did last year.
She doesn't get tired.
No.
I had her in team sports, and she was the same way.
That's good.
She could just never find like what her like sport was, you know, like what.
Knew she was an athlete.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Knew she had to be playing something.
You could tell last year that she was going to be one of the best. She was definitely well visit.
I think Bab was recruiting her for track.
I bet she can do well there. She's
Yeah,
strong enough.
yeah.
This is a thing. I know she plays club.
Mm.
She was powerful and fast last year, but you can see that she's
Refined
maintaining
her
better
skill.
control of the ball this year.
Yeah, if she got to play on better surfaces all the time, like a turf field all the time.
Probably make a difference.
Yep. I mean, it's got to slow you down, like just the contours of the ground. I mean, our grass field is not that bad, but
I thought she was going to be a senior this year too. I think she's only a junior, right?
yeah.
That's good.
Oh, nice move.
Water? So yeah, so I got the email today that NHS wants to know how they can live stream their ceremony. And Kevin, of course, was like, well, how are you going to make that happen? I'm going to email Chris and ask him, since I play all my live streamers, if he's willing to pay someone to do that one. That's a fair question, right?
I think so. Well, in all honesty, like a kid could do it.
Yes, and there are a couple schools that are requiring parents to do.
I was going to say, or a
do it.
parent
I just thought it made
volunteer.
sense to have a game manager who wasn't going to have to deal with crowds and pay people to, if they were going to do it. This way, also, there's less people on the equipment.
Yeah, no, I get all that, but you're talking about a one-shot deal. They're not doing it week after week and 3 times a week, or. Ooh,
Sounds like it hurts.
yeah, that just scares me.
But yeah, at the same time, you know, you're a baseball coach. It's the same sound. Well, similar.
But they're
Wood on a hard ball.
generally you're not 6 inches away from someone
and
who's
it's not
swinging it.
It's not as frequent.
Right.
My dad got cracked on his nose with a baseball bat.
Oh,
Yeah. Crooked every day since.
I was watching the Red Sox game, and this guy took a line drive right back up the middle, and literally the pitcher went like that, and it like. And I know you've seen guys get hit,
Yeah.
but it should happen more often, you would think.
Well, the one that still stands out in my mind was when you've seen it got hit.
Oh. Well, it's live. You can still keep playing it. I thought if it went to a certain height, you had to stop.
I think because no one was near it, I think that's how it works. I don't know. I can't. Or maybe if you hit it to a certain height, but since that was a deflection.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, we were watching, when we were at the soccer game at Utica, there was a club field hockey on the field next door. And they were taking shots that were going through the football goalposts.
Wow.
Yeah. Like not just one or two, several. We heard a dink off the top crossbar, you know.
She blew the whistle.
So now she crossed. No, okay.
So
That's what I'm struggling with. Is if they do this, it's a foul. But if they do this, it's stop the clock. That's awfully similar.
Ooh.
Stick on
You know, spend some time this summer with Ovechkin turning that over so you get a little top spin and it just dies. And
I gotta say Erica's last name. Is it Cow? C-A-O? Ethan Cow Co.
I don't know. I mean, I know how I would say it, but I don't know that it's correct. So I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
I was trying to scare Zach last night to saying Julia's last name.
Yeah, I heard.
I mean, hers is pretty straightforward.
When you see it,
Yeah. But you see it, you just assume it's some kind of Russian pronunciation or something. Okay.
Did you know they have a 2-year-old?
No.
I had no clue. Robin was telling me about.
Oh, I thought she was an only child.
I thought she was.
Oh.
And I don't remember Jennifer being pregnant. I don't know. I mean, it could be bad information, but
Did they adopt?
it's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past them. That's that's a noble thing.
Well, maybe they figured Julia's like grown, now they need, something to put their energy into.
Yeah. I don't know. And like I said, it could be bad information, but that was something that I had never heard.
Yeah, I when I say, "Oh, I saw you last year," and I'm thinking, "No, I actually didn't." You know what I mean?
2 years
Because
ago,
it's
yeah.
like 2 years now that because you may have been online with, but it's been a while since we've done this.
But it was last school year that they went to States.
Oh, wow, hit the post. Yes,
And that's it's hard for me to.
but that's almost 2 years ago. I mean, it's a year and a half
it's
ago.
Yeah, it's hard for me to fathom because it feels like so long but so recent. I struggle with that.
Well, the other night, Kelly Bernota came to
Yeah, I saw.
the thing at the volleyball game, and I was talking to her, and I was like, "Oh, you getting ready for your junior year or something?" And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's right."
It does feel like forever.
Yeah. She's like, "No, I'm just finishing up my freshman year." And I'm like, "Golly, see, I'm all messed up with time."
You're not alone on this.
No, I know. Come on, let's get another Russian here.
I wonder if, so you know how like in the upper levels of soccer, like nobody wants to wear shin guards and they hate it.
Yeah,
I wonder if in the upper levels of this game, if they don't.
it's a good question. So, like in pro soccer, men don't wear.
Some do, some don't. It's not required. It's suggested. It's more so a high school and college thing. You do the best
Right.
to get out of it. Like high school won't allow you to play without them.
Right.
Club will. And then they went through that period where they were wearing the little like 3-year-old shin guards, that were, like this big that slid in. He said a 7-minute halftime, right?
Yes.
Get it back right here. Good stop.
I know that's no different than baseball or golf, but that's impressive. It always impresses me when they're able to just stop it when it's in the air.
Yeah.
Set it up for you.
You missed it. You would have liked it. The last game. There's a girl from who were we playing? Lincoln? In overtime that like juggled it
Oh yeah.
halfway down the field. She just put it up on her stick and just started going. Yeah, 3 seconds, just shoot.
What is halftime normally?
Apparently, they decide during the coin toss whether it's going to be 5 or 10.
So they went with 7.
Well, I mean, I know Chrissy has to get to Linganore for actually our JV game, because they're making up an extra game because there were only like 5 or 6 teams this year.
Oh, so our JV's leaving here to
He's
go.
leaving,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
The bus is going to pick them up here and take them to a 5:30 game because Linganore had a varsity game, but their JV game got canceled, and our JV game got canceled because TJ doesn't have a JV, so
No.
we matched up. Yeah, there were only 6 teams, so the way I looked at it is there's 4 teams that are almost 4 teams that are going to be off every time. So we just matched them up, and everybody got 3, like made up 3 of the 4 games that they missed. Because there was one week where like the 2 teams were playing each other, so there weren't enough teams or something like that. Yeah.
Do you think sports, like it seems to me the number down across all
Absolutely.
sports? You think that will come back if we return to a more traditional school setting? But I guess that depends on how many kids come back.
I think it will, and I think our numbers will go up next year. But I think there are some other pieces that are going to play into it. I think if we continue to play with masks, I think that's going to hurt. Because
So you
there
think kids
are
would-
sports that are opening up, and
So you think kids would sit out if we required, like, I'm going to give up a whole season because I don't want to wear a mask?
I'm not going to say his name because of who he is, but if you think of Jackson, like he's got you take someone like him who is playing at a high level, and probably for a couple teams, if not just one team,
Sure.
in training. So he's already got that avenue, that outlet.
So why go through the
And
extra?
doesn't have to do it with a mask. So why would you go through the extra? And
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not saying that will happen, but I could see that.
But like even football seemed to be really, not just at our school, across the board, the numbers seem to be.
It was almost everywhere except maybe 2 schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's because you still have a significant number of the percentage of the population who's not even going to hybrid.
Right.
And I get.
I think there are parents that kept them out.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely, it runs the gamut. Just like we've got, Democrat, Republican.
Sure.
We've got people that are super conservative about this, and people that are like, what virus?
I was polling my kids to see. I said, the email came out from FCPS trying to gauge, the number, and I figured overwhelmingly people would be like, yeah, I'll be back in the fall. And we were talking about, vaccines becoming more available, so you should be inoculated before school starts next year. And, I said in terms of return to normal, I mean, I'm sure that there'll still be hand sanitizers and masks, but the distance and the numbers of kids that you can have in a facility would have to drastically increase. And then it was funny because Mike O'Brien was laughing, and I was like, why are you laughing? And he goes, think about it. If you got straight A's now, and you're crushing it in this format, why would you come back? And I said, that's a great point, and this may have opened the door for that being an option, not because of, a virus or something, just because that might be better for your situation. And I was actually talking to some freshmen who said, I miss my friends and I miss the social part of it, but I like the flexibility because this one girl said, I like to go to bed late, and she goes and sleep in. And she goes, yeah, I wake up and go to classes, but I'm tired. And she goes, I rarely do my work during that class time. She goes, but midnight, 11 o'clock, I'll sit down and I'll do 2-3 hours worth of work and get it done for the day. So I'm always
like a college kid's schedule.
Exactly. And then there were some kids who were like, well, I have younger siblings, so I help them during the day and I do my stuff at night. And there are, families that I have a job and I work every day and I'm helping the family, pay bills. And
I think it fits, and I think it works for some people. I do think it's better. I think you'll see across the board, all elementary go back, unless there's a particular family that
who
is
chooses
nervous
not to, yeah.
about their kid being in school. But I think in general, you'll see elementary go back. I think you'll see a good amount of middle school, and I think in high school the numbers might be low, for all the reasons that you're saying. But at the same time, and you and I have talked about the whole SEL thing, and how sometimes we're, compounding this, making it soft kind of thing for some kids. But there are some kids that do need to be in the building for other reasons beyond just the academics. Like they need the structure. They need
but you're always going to have people that need more than what we provide on the daily. And is our role to educate, or is our role to raise children? I mean, and it's an open-ended question, and it isn't not one answer. But I feel like we put a lot on schools to do things that are parents' jobs.
And it's getting worse and worse every year with that.
Well, and it's because I think we keep extending our reach, and then it becomes, well, the schools will do that. The schools will do that.
Well, if there's one thing I think we learned this year, and it definitely changed my opinion. 5 years ago, if you would have asked, I would have told you that.
Get it! Oh, I shouldn't be cheering.
Well, that is a Tuscarora live stream. You're allowed to cheer. Just can't be derogatory. So 5 years ago, I would have told you that I thought that online K-12 education was a definite large part of the future of education.
That's why I started working with the virtual school.
Virtual school, yeah.
Because I thought that was definitely going to happen.
I think we have learned that it is a part of it, but I think it's a much smaller part of the landscape than we would have thought.
Get it in! No? Good job by the goalie. Yeah, I think that if you would have told teachers, okay, get ready, this is coming, there would have been a lot of pushback. I think that we accelerated our development as online facilitators much more rapidly than we would have
Had we-
otherwise. You know, we didn't have a choice. I don't mind the online. I don't like the hybrid where you've got, you know,
I was
some
definitely
A,
more
some B,
comfy.
and some C that never come in, and that's not and I know why they had to do it.
And I'm with you. Yeah, I think like I didn't love online, but I'm definitely more comfortable with that than I am with hybrid.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting less done now, even though with online, like for instance with PE, like you know your team sports classes are mine. Those kids are not getting what they signed up for.
No.
But I felt like I got to a point where they were getting something that was actually sort of cool.
Yes. Well, you know what I noticed, especially when we came back to in person, you know, at least partial in person, the skill work, the ones that did the skill work that was assigned, actually greatly improved. And in these small formats, these kids who come in are displaying a much higher skill level than they would have if we'd have come in with 50 kids in the class, and you know what I mean?
Well, because you're coaching them essentially.
Well, yeah,
You're working
but-
one-on-one and one-on-five.
But like I have two freshman girls that came in and they've never played volleyball before, but when they come in to school, I say, here's the ball, everybody warm up while I get the online kids squared away. And I watch, they go over and they do the drills that I sent them videos to do at home on their own.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, so that I feel like, wow, these kids are actually improving and getting better, which is what you hope for.
I have one young man who's a hybrid, and he's not really a player. He just plays.
Mm-hmm.
But we were doing some ball mastery skills yesterday, and he's gotten much better, right? And it's simply from practice.
Yeah.
I wish I could say it was like, oh, I taught him how to,
Right.
do a soul roll. No, it's just from the constant repetition and practice with the ball at his feet, and the fact that I only had 2 people on A days, so I was able to go over every day we did something.
Well, and you can
give them something
personalize
to
the
work on.
instruction. You don't have to make it a cookie cutter, one size fits all when you got 2 kids.
Yeah. Okay. But I do feel with like the virtual kids, or the kids that are hybrid and at home that like play on Todd's team or whatever, I feel like I'm failing them in terms of being able to provide them with anything beyond here's a video, practice the skills that you already do.
Well,
I struggle with that some.
what would you expect? I mean, it's not like you have an AP soccer class, which
There it
nice.
is. Where's that? Goal, Tuscarora.
Stop the clock, coach.
Thank you.
We got you. My goodness gracious.
I think it was Erica.
I couldn't tell. I'm having such a hard time with this.
Anybody see? Was that Erica? Anyone out there?
Oh, it's not. Well, at least the people watching the live stream got all of our opinions on,
Everything.
yeah, under the sun.
Let's go.
Wow. No way.
We gave it 6 seconds because I missed 6 seconds earlier. I was trying to make up for it.
Everybody wants to tell you how to do your job.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not.
I don't profess to know how to do it. Trust me, you should have seen the email I got over.
Really?
Oh my. Remember how I came into you the other day,
Yes.
and then Jess came in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
I've had 3 straight days of that. Like I need. Like Terry told me this. She's like, you need to take a week. You just need to get away from this for a little bit.
Well, I told Ob we're gonna kidnap him like in old school. We're gonna throw him in the back of a van and take his phone and put it away, and he can't talk to anybody or
Be smart.
just for a weekend. Because I'm certain, like once this school year ends, and I'm sure he won't. He'll start right back into everything again. But
He seems to do a pretty good job of disconnecting when he goes to the beach. Which
Yeah.
isn't nearly long enough, but at least it's 2 weeks that he just
but
enjoys.
it's starting to get to him a little bit though because. I don't know. It just seems that.
Well, he's nonstop, and he's added the admin classes now, which is just another piece.
Yeah. Well, he's also somebody that doesn't do anything halfway.
Yeah.
So if he's going to do something, it's going to be top notch. And he's going to put great effort into it. And I think that's some of his frustration is that so many of the people that you're doing these things for just blow them off.
You know this already. But one of the things I've learned in my 3 years down here.
Let's go. Come on, get through there. Why did we stop? Oh, she blew the whistle? I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear. I think it was him. Is just how much I enjoy talking to him, working with him. And I mean, it's true of all of you, but he's just something special.
Mm-hmm.
And you all know that already. But yeah, like I'm starting to regret that I took a summer gig this summer because I need some downtime. I need a break, and I know he feels that way.
Well, the one thing that I worry too is that this year it seems, I mean, we're going to get out around the 20th, 19th or whatever, but we're going to be right back around the 10th, 11th.
The 11th.
I just don't understand how they think that makes sense.
Well,
I know this year they're going to argue, well, you need to make up.
I don't think it's that because it was decided before.
Yeah.
I think this is the year it's going to stick because it's the short summer. But if you think about it, this schedule is the high school schedule. This schedule is what works for us, and they're just forcing the rest of elementary and middle to go along with us because it's better for testing. When graduation occurs, we're done, which is the way it should be. Like we've got maybe a week left after graduation.
You know what I don't understand though? Why did the Tuscarora seniors have to go 4 more days than the TJ
It should
seniors?
rotate.
Well, it shouldn't rotate. It should be the seniors' last day is this day.
Yeah.
You want to rotate graduation, then that's fine, but I don't
Terry and I were
understand.
just talking about that.
I don't understand why you're a senior at Tuscarora. You got to go an
You
extra
gotta
week
go to
of
school extra long. Yeah. Maybe our test scores are too low, so they figure 4 more days will help.
Right.
Yeah, I've always felt bad for our seniors for that. But this, the starting April 11th, high school athletics start the same day. So, I mean, now you got parents that don't have to make the decision whether they're going on vacation or doing sports. Like it fits the high school schedule better. It fits FCC better because it'll put semester break closer to Christmas break.
Well, honestly, here's the thing. Comar needs to change. Who's the genius that said 180 days is the magic number?
That's actually a federal number.
I don't think so.
I think 180 is.
I think it's state because I know other states
Is it
that
maybe
don't
175 or something? I mean, there is a federal number. I don't know what it is. I thought it was 180, but maybe that's
Well,
just
I
the
want to
state
know
number.
that if I go to Harvard and get a PhD, I'm not doing 180 days. At
Oh my
Harvard.
gosh.
So, I mean, that's higher education.
Yeah.
And so much of our time is just, let's slow the pace down and let's fill the many hours. Because we're babysitting. I mean, let's honestly, if we're...
Well, I think I've told you before. I mean, it works for PE, and supposedly it worked for science.
Yeah,
I
there are
don't love
certain...
the block scheduling. I really don't. I think you get less done and again, I'll go academic, you know, all those years in science, I think you get less done in a 90-minute block than you do in two 45-minute blocks. Because you have to, as you said, slow it down, you have to entertain, you have to get them up out of their seat, you have to, like, which, I mean, I did in 45 minutes.
Well, if you're teaching someone anything new, you don't give them a chapter. You give them a few first pages of a
Yeah.
chapter, right? I mean, because it's you chunk things.
Yeah.
That's the way learning works. Well, 90 minutes, and I know why they do that too, because now I can get a credit in a semester. So if I fail English first semester, I can take it second semester, and I'm back on track.
And with block scheduling, I mean, there's more classes, like what is it, 32 classes
Right.
in 4 years, whereas, you know, when we were at Montgomery, it was only 28, right? So it's 4 extra classes, 4 extra chances to get a credit, or 4 extra chances to fail a credit, depending on how you look at it. Plus, as I'm sure you remember, those 45-minute blocks aren't 45 minutes. I think ours were 53.
Well, I remember 46 when I was at Montgomery County.
Did you guys have open lunch?
Seniors did.
Okay, so we had open lunch for everyone. So it shortened the amount of lunch.
Mm.
So therefore we were able to expand the classes. We were 53 and I think one of them was 52.
Did you have 7 blocks?
Yeah.
See, we technically had 8, because
Oh,
we
did
had
you have
5A
8? Yeah.
and 5B, and you had lunch during one of those.
Well, and then I remember like what they did was like for AP Bio, AP Chem, I think there was one of the art classes, like those ones, they got that double block where they actually, you know, you had AP Bio first and second.
Mm-hmm.
You still got the seat time for the labs. That's a good one.
Well, it stays here.
Cross country thing. Have like an hour to prepare for my meeting. So that's another thing, like in soccer, they had that advantage rule.
Did they let it go?
They would have let that go.
Right.
Called advantage, and if it didn't materialize,
Right.
then you call it back.
I feel like that's what I was trying to explain to somebody. You get a breakaway and they foul you, instead of you having be able to go down the field.
Yeah, like that. Like they had a free kick, but because it's a running clock,
Right.
you don't get it. Yeah, I mean it's a subjective thing, but in soccer you'll always see the officials will go like this, which means play on,
Right.
advantage, and then they can act like they won't always call it back, but if that advantage doesn't materialize, they can call it back and put the foul.
Yeah, you see it in basketball with shot clock violations sometimes, where someone is about to get an outlet and they got a clear breakaway, and then they blow the whistle and go, no, it's your
Yeah.
ball, bring it back here. You're like, I know, I had the ball.
Yeah, why would you do that? There's a couple sports that do that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the biggest football fan that ever lived, and some of the rules in football are ridiculous. I remember
that
trying
rule book
to.
is ridiculous.
I remember trying to explain stuff to like Kelly when we were dating, and I was like, "You were a cheerleader. Your brother played. How do you not know any rules?" She was like, "So I started laying them out, and then I go, you know what? This really is complicated. It really is."
But even like, so soccer is really officially only got 13. They don't call them rules; they call them laws.
Laws.
But the book's still this thick. I mean, because it's all the interpretations and all that. Yeah. So even when it's simple, it's complicated. Ever tell you the story of how I knew that my wife was going to be a sports wife?
No.
So I was 26, first year at QO. I'm working a football game. Who was it? Joe Duty was the coach. But I was working for Mike Lanahan. Just working the gate, basically. Right? And so it was probably the third or fourth game. Sean Pelkey and I are working. We always stand at the gate. And my wife came to that game with me, right? It was a bunch of young teachers. 7 o'clock, 15, and I forgot to change the period. So QO's team is running by us through the gate to get onto the field, like just walking by us.
Right.
And
They walk.
Leah's first.
It's a
game.
long walk from the locker room to the field.
Yeah, up those stairs, and
Yeah.
so they're coming by, and she's like, "Wow, you got some big linemen." I said, "How do you know they're linemen?" She said, "Their number."
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, okay, you're a keeper."
And they're about to change that too.
Are they?
Well, they were saying on the defensive side, I think they were saying that those guys and wide receivers can now have single digit, and like they were talking about linebackers and wide receivers can wear whatever number. I guess because so many in college wear whatever, and then they come to pros.
Yeah.
Like
In football, the numbering system isn't as stringent.
well, it is for offense.
Yeah.
You can't be an eligible. Well, in the NFL, you can declare eligible. You can't declare eligible in high school or college.
Hey, let me ask you. So, being on the field, one of the things I never noticed at a high school game, right before the snap, the wide receiver always looks at the linesman and almost like checks in with them. Is it just to make sure that they're on side?
Yes. Or it depends on the formation. You have to have 7 men on the line. So if he lines up off and he thinks he's on because of that, you always check with because the line judge goes, "You're good."
Okay, that's
and
all
you
it
can't say, "Am I good?" You have to say, "Am I on or off?"
Yeah.
And he'll say, "Move up, move back. You're good."
Okay.
Because I watch our wide receivers. They get some of them, and it's usually a young receiver. They line up like 2 yards off the line.
Back.
Well, you don't. Ooh. Young lady got it in her face. You don't want to do that because now you're increasing the length you have to run. A 10-yard route is now a 12-yard route.
Yeah, exactly. Gives them more time to react.
Right.
When you're going to make a cut. Yeah. I had never seen that before. And obviously I spend a lot of time on the field and on the line now. Gotta get the good picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured it had something to do with making sure they were either behind the line of scrimmage or on it, but I
Yes.
wasn't positive.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to look at it, but sometimes, your angle or your perception is different, so go to the official and make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like if the ball's at the 50 and you need to be on the line, then obviously you should be on the 50. But sometimes, you're hurrying to run up and you have to say, I'm back, I'm forward, I'm good.
Ooh. Come on, come on. That's Tori, right?
Oh.
It's so hard to see their numbers.
Yeah.
I have to remember that for the next order. Try and go up the size of numbers.
I think it has more to do with distance. It's just hard to see. Well, yeah.
Well, so I do this for I don't do the scoreboard.
Oh.
Nice. I do the scored book and spotting for the state semifinals and finals for soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's always an issue. Like there's always one team out of the 16 that come through that have like purple and yellow stripes and blue numbers or something. But there's a rule as to how big they're supposed to be. And that's one of the first things we start with during warm-ups is we spend time like making sure we can read the numbers.
Wow. Everybody good?
She barely got out of the way. Who was it? Lock Raven. One of the hardest ones I ever had to like read their jerseys.
Well, I think that might be a Lock Raven thing because we played them for the state championship my senior year of high school, and you couldn't see their numbers then. And that was 1982. So
Are they purple and gold?
there's something like that. Because we were black and gold, and it was pretty easy to see ours, and theirs were definitely difficult. Plus, the quality of film back then was, was like, I don't even know if it was VHS. Oh, is that Doreen? I gave her the ball.
Yeah. Goal Tuscarora by senior Kayleigh Brown. Stop the clock this one.
Let me get back to the game. Just shot the scoreboard. I tell you what, I really wish we could play all of our games here because it's really nice. I think the game is a much.
It's a cleaner game.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
It's definitely faster.
I almost feel like no matter how you cut the grass on our field, it's not going to be as
Bumpy.
right. And if you cut it too short, you probably
Kill the grass.
right, and then you have a terrible field to play on. So that's why you need to play on turf. That's why we need to tell FCPS, since they have all this extra money that they want us to spend, that Tuscarora could use a turf field.
I truly believe it.
And even if we can't do the whole stadium, let's at least do some practice area or something that the field hockey team and soccer teams could play on, and football team could practice on it.
I think based on when the school was built and then when money came into being, if that makes sense, and putting turf fields in, like, I could fight it, but I truly, like, will be lower. The last, if the county pays for it, will be the last school because TJ's getting it now.
Well, who's
You've
left?
got Walkersville, Brunswick, Catoctin, and us. And Brunswick's already on slate for renovation, although I think they pushed that off a little bit. But when you renovate a school, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
You would think. And Walkersville and Catoctin are old buildings with old stadiums, and so I would just assume.
Well, I thought not Catoctin. Walkersville had raised, or they had some group that was willing to sponsor or at least
They might.
pay a significant portion. I mean, I remember when we were at Whitman, we were considered doing it when it was, you had to pay your whole. It was, $1.2 million or whatever, and you needed every cent.
Yeah.
That one of the plans was there was a, I think it was like I don't know, was DC Spirit a women's soccer team? Does that make
Washington Spirit. Yeah.
Washington Spirit? They were going to use that field as their home location.
They ended up going to RM instead.
Well, this was before RM was
Yeah.
done, and that was going to be how we were going to pay a significant portion. And then there's a number of leagues down there that would rent, but the neighbors didn't want things going till 10, 11 o'clock at night with the lights on. And
Yeah. You know, the shame of it is we're not close enough to a casino. Never hear me say that again, but they have these grants that they give, but you have to be within a certain mile radius. Meade High School is about to get their second turf field, both through that grant, or they're working on it at least. U.S. Soccer used to have a half and half grant, but it's got to be for public use. You got to allow soccer teams.
well, that was other than to generate enough money by opening it up to the youth leagues and tell them we've solved all the issues, so all I gotta do is ask.
I'm sure I'm about to text him it, and I'm sure he heard me say it. That's all right. I heard Mr. Nutter is going to donate to get us a field.
I have heard that he has squirreled away quite a nest egg. that he-
Independently wealthy.
Yes. And that he wishes to endow us. And we could name it. We could sell the naming rights.
FCPS will not allow us to
I
name
know,
our field.
but we're
Remember
gonna
I went through that when I wanted to call us the Coliseum?
we are gonna be the first.
It'll be PNC Bank Field at
But I kind of find that hypocritical.
such and such
wow,
stadium.
she crushed that one.
Yeah.
I kind of find it hypocritical because we can now put cell towers on our school grounds, but we can't name our fields. If someone wants to give you money, why turn it away? And then and then if they mess up in public, you can pull it and then, double dip.
Helen said we got some money when that first happened.
Yes, we did.
But then when they went back and raised it, apparently that wasn't part of the deal.
This angle's really hard to get because of that post. She's right on the edge and I can't get. There we go. Wow. Should I turn this off and do a senior night thing or just let it roll?
I would let it roll.
Okay.
I would mute it for a little
Sure,
bit.
sure.
I mean, that's up to you. It's completely up to you. I think it'll probably be at least 10 minutes before we get senior night set and ready to go.
I'll start it again.
Okay, yeah.
That way, if someone's looking for the senior night
They
event,
can just find
they can
that.
just find
Yeah.
that.
Smack it, Brooke. 8 seconds.
I guess it's because it said 4.
The power kind of flickered, it looked like. Picture this. All right, I'll shut this down and then restart.